overtime pay. We're talking the overtime play. The big stories, the big plays, the big drama. We got Jared P and Johnny O. Jared P and Johnny O. Jared P and Johnny O. Jared P and Johnny O.
Welcome to episode 50. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Of Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. Yeah, we're basically 2 weeks away from our 1 year mark that we started, right before NFL season, which is crazy. And I've really enjoyed it. And we got a really fun episode today. We're going to talk about which major sport of the four major sports has the best all-star weekend. And then a report came out this week. NFL executives and scouts and others and coaches voted on who they thought was the best quarterbacks, who are the best quarterbacks in the NFL heading into this season. And they're basing it on, the past, but also projecting into this season how they think it will stack up. And so we're going to do the top 10 to 1, who we think we're going to tell you what they said, but we're going to, give our opinions on that as well. All right, Johnny, episode 50, who is our title sponsor?
That is exciting. Number 50. That's a great number, man. I love it. Our title sponsor, Estate Jewelry and Loan. Something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection, new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a nice, unique piece over at Brian's place. His showroom is over on 2511 Battleground Ave. He's got jewelry, diamonds, watches, all kinds of good stuff, and you can also find him on estateJewelryLoan.com. And also Salsarita's Fresh Mexican Grill, located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden. He's got a food truck, catering, does daily specials all the time. And to find their menu, you can go to salsaritas.com.
All right, great. So and if you want to be a sponsor, you want to be a part of the podcast, you can message us on any of our social media. You can hit up Johnny at sportscarolina@gmail.com. We have awesome sponsors. We love to help promote your business as well. All right. So who has the best all-star weekend or all-star festivities, or just the best highlight of their all-stars between Major League Baseball, the NHL, NBA, and NFL? Johnny, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to start right off. Even though we're getting close to the NFL, all the hoopla with NFL, the NFL all-star, whatever you want to call it, Pro Bowl competition, this and that, is definitely the worst in the books, man. I mean, as far
I agree.
As, right. I mean, they're not sure what to do with that, and it is kind of hard. I mean, it really, with the injuries and right before the Super Bowl, they were doing it they just couldn't really figure that out. But I'm sure a lot of the players are a little disappointed that they don't get to go to Hawaii anymore when they're on the Pro Bowl. They switched it to Florida or wherever. So right off the bat, they're the worst in the business, which we don't say that much about the NFL, but that part of it, bad. NBA, they do a pretty damn good job. It's a full weekend. They do skills competition. They got the Rising Stars game on a Friday night. I think that's the first and second year players. They get together and play a somewhat of a competitive game. But I maybe watch 10 minutes of it, and that kind of gets boring. The 3-point competition is always kind of fun, and the slam dunk. I don't look forward to it as much as I used to at the beginning, with the Dominique Wilkins and of course Michael Jordan and all those guys, but I still think Spud Webb was the most unbelievable dunker. But when I do tune into it, it's still pretty exciting. So it is a lot of fun to watch. So the NBA does a good job. Baseball does a hell of a job as well, and actually that's this week. They do it in the middle of the season. The Midsummer Classic, they call it, and it's in the summertime. A different stadium every year. It's always the American League against the National League, and there's some competition there. Celebrity softball games. The home run derby is always a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot like the slam dunk contest, but lately the home run derby thing has really been kind of cool. And you get to know a lot of these rising stars that join in on that. So I would say Major League Baseball is right up there. Again, the NFL is just terrible, but you're going to be a little surprised at what I'm going to say right now. The NHL came up with a tremendous idea this past year. It's called, what is called the Four Nations Face-Off. And I don't know if I think you watched a little bit of it.
I did. It was interesting.
It was Canada, Finland, Sweden, and the United States. And it was, each one of those nations wanted to win this cup and whatever they wanted. And it really brought, I'm not even a hockey fan, not even close to being a hockey fan. But that sucked me right in, especially when those two teams start. Was it Canada and the U.S. dropped the gloves before the puck even dropped? It was serious competition. So I'm gonna give it to the NHL as the best idea, and really bringing in fans that aren't even fans of the game, like myself, to watch those games and really care about the U.S., that they were going to win. And especially the U.S. against Canada was just a fierce battle. So to answer your question, as much as I love the Major League Baseball and the NBA, what they do, NHL wins it for me.
I mean, we rarely agree on, everything, but I think that's great analysis. I don't think anyone can make a case that the NFL has anything of interest, even though it's the ratings king. It is the king for revenue. It's just the most consumed sport in our country on a professional level, and even on a college level. And I think because of the violent nature of the sport, I think, when Sean Taylor nailed that punter that one time, and then people were worried about getting hurt, and then they would have 1 year the NFC would end up having 7 Pro Bowl quarterbacks because none of them would play, and so then oh, did you know so and so has 1 Pro Bowl? And you're like, when? It's yeah, when they couldn't find anyone that wanted to play in the game. That's and so right. It's the nature of some things are the nature of the game. It just doesn't lend itself. And I think doing flag football is fun, and flag football is gaining in popularity. But I would definitely have that dead last. I really don't disagree with your ranking, so I don't want to go too far into it. Except for I think the NBA should copy the NHL and do. I think we might have mentioned this before, but a nations tournament, like the world versus the U.S. And then maybe have. I don't like when they say the winning team gets, because that wouldn't work in this instance. I know Major League Baseball tried to be. Where the winning team would get home field advantage if the NL or AL. And that was defeats the purpose of having the best record. But I see they were trying. But the NBA, if they can copy that and somehow get stars back in the slam dunk contest, the slam dunk contest would be fascinating if they had stars. Or maybe they can do, there's a show used to be called Joes versus Pros. I don't know if you ever saw that show.
I remember
there is a slam dunk circuit, and then have them go against NBA stars, but the stars won't do it anymore, or rarely. And so you're right with Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins, Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant, all those. But the LeBron kind of started the trend of the big stars once again ruining basketball. LeBron James, he's the biggest star and the greatest athlete in the NBA for years, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do one slam dunk contest. Why? So I devalued it, and it gave because he's a leader, it gave other stars permission not to participate, in my opinion. And it's ruined All-Star Weekend. That was the highlight of the weekend. And the All-Star Game was fun. You see your favorite things, but that's gotten out of control with the scoring. But I think the world versus U.S. they should at least try it.
It would be. I think it's a toss-up, because the world has caught up to the U.S. in basketball for sure. I mean, you watch the NBA draft this past year or the past few years, it's mostly, overseas European players. I mean, it's unbelievable what
Yes.
how they have caught up since the Dream Team. I mean,
you have Shea Gilgeous, Joker. You would have from Milwaukee, Giannis. Yeah,
Luka. Yeah,
Luka. I mean, that's they do have at least a good, like an excellent starting five. That's like insane. They'd be tough to beat. And then just a little switch on yours. I think right now, as far as an event that's the most exciting, in my opinion, is the Home Run Derby. The Home Run Derby it's fun to watch. They've figured a way to make it quick. Where round 2 is like 2 minutes. They have 2 minutes to see how many home runs they can hit in the second round. That was cool. And they're lots of times their dads are out there throwing it, or somebody, family. Yep. Bryce Harper's dad did it, and in the winter, Raleigh's dad was out there, which is cool.
And Raleigh's brother was the catcher too. So
it's cool.
Very cool.
And guess what Major League Baseball did? The guy that's leading the league, right, in home runs is in the competition. All the big name sluggers are in the competition, and maybe there's a little because less risk of injury, of course. But so I think that is the best solo event currently because you have the stars. It's fun to watch. It's easy to consume. You don't have to know much about the sport, but then you get to the All-Star game, and I think it's a little too slow. I mean, because baseball for a lot of people is too slow, and it's like, and so because of that, I'm with the NHL overall package, the skill competition, whatever they do. All right, whatever. And maybe it's because where we live, although we do have a great franchise in the Hurricanes, I do give it to NHL, right? Because of that change, they leapt from probably third to first.
Absolutely. Now, it must be because it's the 50th, episode or something. There's something. You gave me a little something with the baseball, man. I appreciate that. See, I've been the nice guy on this show mostly, and now you're trying to steal that from me because that was very nice. Though,
1 week I'm trying to steal your stats, the next week I'm trying to steal you being the nice guy. But no, you nailed it though. You nailed the analysis was perfect. All right, let's thank our other sponsors before we get into the top 10 NFL quarterbacks as voted on by executives and scouts and others. We have Surf Hippie Fishing. That's Surf Hippie Fishing with a PH. surfhippiefishing.com. They have great gear if you're into fishing. They have these awesome carts you can take out on the beach and fishing rod. They have holders, everything you need. surfhippiefishing.com. An elite performance chiropractic, former guest multiple times on the show. He's a great guest, Jeremy Phillips, and pro football player. They get you back better than ever, and they invest in the latest and greatest, not only techniques, but technology. And you can check them out, Elite Performance Chiropractic, on their Facebook and also their website.
Speaking of Jeremy, we'll have him back on the show probably within the next maybe 4 weeks or so because we'll be talking football. So I love when he's on the show. He knows his stuff. So we also have Shank and Torrance Insurance located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And Tee It Up Indoor on Battleground Ave. He's got those 3 simulators. They're fairly new, but you can play over 100,000 golf courses throughout the world. And Davis Troxler will take care of you. If you go there, tell them that we sent you. Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O, and he will give you a free half hour on that for whatever time frame you want. But they're over there on Battleground Ave. Please check them out.
That's excellent. All right. So NFL executives, they polled them, executives and scouts and other personnel on their top 10 quarterbacks that going into this season. And let me be 100% clear. It was executives, coaches, and scouts. And so this is what they think. And it looks like it's anonymous, and so I'll just do 10-1 real quick, and then we'll break it down. How about that?
Yep.
So at number 10, and this is, again, projected into this year based on, obviously, last year and, who they are. Baker Mayfield at number 10. Jalen Hurts at number 9. I'm surprised he's in the top 30 anyway. Jared Goff at number 8. Justin Herbert at number 7. And at number 6, nearly 40-year-old Matthew Stafford. All right. And in the top 5, and if you would have said this last year before the beginning of the season, I think people would have been shocked with one of these names, but not so much anymore. At number 5, Jaden Daniels. Number 4, Lamar Jackson, who he's compared to a lot already. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Number 2, Josh Allen. And executives, coaches, and scouts all agree still, even though he had a down year last year, Patrick Mahomes is the number 1 quarterback going into 2025. All right, you went first last time. I'll give you my thoughts.
Okay.
I don't know. We don't know what each other are going to say. You know what? I'm going to take my Jalen Hurts. See, I'm being nice today. I'm taking my Jalen Hurts take away. I'll let you do that because I think we might be on the same wavelength there. I could be wrong. I'll see what you say. My contention is Justin Herbert is talented. He, however, has a coach that doesn't throw the ball. He's an excellent coach in Harbaugh. You know, he's throwing for 160 to 200 yards per game. I don't think I would have him at 10, if at all, in the top 10. Not that he's not a top 10 talent, but based on like his importance to that team, unless they dramatically change their offensive identity under Harbaugh, there are other quarterbacks to me that are talented and more important to their team's success. I mean, you can almost have a game manager unless they radically change and open up that offense. And Harbaugh, I don't know, will he? I mean, we'll see. The other issues I have with this list, I'm okay with Mayfield being in the top 10, Goff at number 8, although it'll be interesting to see how Goff does without Ben Johnson, who to me was outside of the Commanders' offensive coordinator, is the best offensive coordinator in the game that's not a head coach. And he's now a head coach, but like last year as their offensive coordinator, he's a really excellent offensive coordinator. So it might be a step back this year. Jaden Daniels, I'll say this. I'm a Commanders fan at number 5. He had more fourth quarter comebacks out of anyone in the NFL last year. His QBR goes up in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter in overtime. He is the definition of clutch. However, I think the Commanders are going to take a slide back, but not because of Jaden Daniels. I just think, a lot of things went right, and a couple plays here and there. This is a team that could, easily go from, 12-5 to 7-12 because not 7-12, but 7-10 or because we've seen it happen before. Like Panthers for years, they'd have one good season, but they win a bunch of close games. And the next year, they're just a little bit off. They don't get those lucky bounces or just things don't go their way, and they're not a playoff team. I think they're going to be a really good, and he's only going to get better. But I have no problem with him being above Stafford and Herbert. And then I would go Lamar Jackson I'm fine with. I'd have Josh Allen at number 3. And Josh Allen, I know, is the reigning MVP. I seem like I'm a Josh Allen hater on this podcast. I'm not. I would love to have Josh Allen as my quarterback. I think he's just a good guy. He's a great guy to build a franchise around. He can run the ball. He's durable. He can make every throw. He seems to be getting better every year. But, I mean, we're talking about elite of elite. And the reason I don't have him at I have him down one at number 3 is because I think Joe Burrow is a victim of his circumstances of being on a poorly run Cincinnati Bengals team. And in spite of mismanagement, in spite of having zero defense, and in spite of, all of that, I mean, he puts up huge numbers and took that team to the Super Bowl. And within a play or two, he could have already be a Super Bowl champion. So I really like Joe Burrow. I like him. And I just think can you imagine Joe Burrow with the Ravens, or Joe Burrow with the Buffalo Bills, or Joe Burrow with the Chiefs? He'd be putting up, even bigger numbers because there's better offensive schemes and as far as better run organizations. And number 1, Patrick Mahomes. He had a down year last year. That's not going to happen again. But they won all their close games pretty much. They laid an egg in the Super Bowl. They lost to a much better, as much as it hurts me to say, a much better top to bottom team in the Philadelphia Eagles. but I don't think you would have to be a total idiot as an owner to pick any other quarterback above Mahomes. Been to 5 Super Bowls in his short career, and he's actually one play away from really going to 6 straight with the guy, Dee Ford, who lined up offsides against the Patriots. So it's just Patrick Mahomes. They've retooled the offensive line. They've gotten speed back. He's a young receiver from last year that got hurt midway through this or early on in the season. He's back, and they got speed everywhere. And people in camp are saying this is like the fastest they've been in a long time on offense. And so Patrick Mahomes, number one, can't argue with that. You can try. All right. What do you think?
I liked your analysis on that, on some of it. I got a couple questions on a couple of your statements, but this top 10, it's a top 10 just like anything. Beginning of the season, who's going to win this, and best quarterback, what they think that quarterback's going to do this year, nobody knows. Okay. So, but it's a decent top 10. Okay. I love that Baker Mayfield's in the top 10 just because I am a Baker Mayfield guy. I love the way he's a gamer, and he just, he's fought his way back because he had a few 3 or 4 tough years to start, and I think he's found his niche in Tampa Bay, and so I'm rooting for him, and I just like the way he plays the game of football. I'll jump to number 1. Patrick Mahomes he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. He did have an off year. But I mean, he's had some tremendous years, and Super Bowls count, man, and that's what he does. He goes to Super Bowls.
His off year is going to the Super Bowl. That's his off year is going to the Super Bowl. That's his off year and losing. And
with a lot of talent around him. Okay, I mean, he's had those Super Bowl wins. He had some great players. God, I do disagree with you on the Josh Allen thing. He's definitely my number 2. Josh Allen is a stud, man, and he's a leader, and he's just all-around quarterback, and especially with the running as well. And he needs to get to that Super Bowl, to really kind of prove to people what can happen. Now, you mentioned Joe Burrow is an outstanding quarterback, and he put up some serious numbers last year, but because he had to put up serious numbers. His defense sucked, so he's throwing the ball all over the ballpark, but at a consistent rate. Don't get me wrong, the guy can. I like Joe Burrow, but numbers, are a lot larger. You're putting up bigger numbers when your team is struggling. So you mentioned. What if Joe Burrow was on Baltimore or Buffalo? No, his numbers wouldn't be any better. I mean, holy crap. Lamar and Josh Allen, they put up really good numbers, but they're on really good teams too, and so no, Joe Burrow's numbers would probably be less than what they are with Cincinnati.
I guess to be clear, what I'm saying is maybe Joe Burrow on the Buffalo Bills or the Ravens could make it to the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, because he's just a more accurate and I think he's a more talented thrower of the ball, passer. So
he is.
But these are all elite people. These are all just insane.
Absolutely. 2 through, number 1, he still is. Mahomes is still by himself up there, I believe. But let's see what, if he comes back with another year like this past year, things are, we're going to start thinking a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson, during the season, he is just a wonderful football player. I mean, his numbers were 41 and 4, 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions last year. But he's not winning, man. In the playoffs, he loses. I mean,
right.
When you're a quarterback and you're losing in the playoffs and you're still putting up, his numbers are good in the playoffs, not like the regular season. It's called leadership. And I'm not sure if he's got that leadership quality that the big dogs have to get to AFC championships and Super Bowls. So, he's got to prove himself, and we got to see what he's going to do there. I still put him in the top 5. He's just a super athlete and a great quarterback. Jayden Daniels, man, that's hard to argue. He had one hell of a rookie year. Did great things, makes it to the NFC Championship, which was mind-boggling. And got beat by the best team in the NFL. You even got to look at it that way. Who knows if Detroit made it or whatever, or well, I guess they beat Detroit, but you couldn't ask for a better rookie season. But CJ Stroud had a hell of a rookie season 2 years ago. He had an off sophomore season. It all depends on. Now, Washington has brought in some players. Man, they better sign McLaurin because he's getting a little ticked off. I don't know if you saw that.
What in the world? They're the most loyal guy on their team that's consistently produces.
But if injuries hit them or something, you just don't know. Yeah. So, putting him in the top 5 it's stretching it a little bit, but it's hard to argue because he's just such an exciting player, and he's got to stay healthy. I hope he stays healthy. And even though he's in my, Eagles division, I enjoy watching him play. Now, the rest of these guys, okay, Jalen Hurts at number 9, okay. You and I just both said Patrick Mahomes is, by himself, okay, then it starts at number 2 and down. What does this guy have to do? Why does he get penalized for being on a really good football team? They got him at number 9, okay? He outplayed Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago and this past year, okay, or 3 years ago, whenever it was. He's been Jalen Hurts in 2 Super Bowls. He's 1-1. Mahomes won the first one. But Jalen Hurts was the better quarterback in both of those games. Agree?
Yeah, agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's in a Super Bowl atmosphere. and actually his numbers in the first Super Bowl were ridiculous. They were like over 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns, ran for 2, but just unbelievable. And they have the balls on this list to put Justin Herbert ahead of Jalen Hurts, who has accomplished over a 5-year period unbelievable things. Okay, Justin Herbert has accomplished 0. Does he? How many? He's going in his 5th or 6th year, but he's got the potential. No, we want to know. We can't say that, but Jayden Daniels showed potential year 1. What is this? Why? Because Justin Herbert's good looking and he looks good throwing the football. How is he number 7 ahead of my boy Jalen Hurts? I don't know if you agree with that. Jared Goff, man, I love the guy, and I think he is. He's not elite, but he's a hell of a quarterback. Him at number 8, I got a question just because what Jalen Hurts has done over his last 4 years. Matthew Stafford is at the end of his career. Great quarterback. Again, this list is wonderful, but he's at number 6 going into this season. Bull crap.
Right.
Bull crap, man. I need Jalen Hurts to be, and I'm okay with saying this. See that number 5 spot? I could see Jayden Daniels / Jalen Hurts in that tied for number 5, and then you can put whatever you want after that. But those guys do not deserve it. Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, and Matthew Stafford do not deserve to be in front of Jalen Hurts. I know I'm a fan and I'm an Eagle fan, but my gosh, what does this leadership wins? Leadership wins. He just keeps winning in everything he's ever done in life, okay? Puts up numbers that are fantastic, but he's getting penalized because Saquon, well, he ran 2,000 yards. That's the only reason why the Eagles, went to. They got to stop saying that. They got to stop penalizing a quarterback for having other good players on the team, because Joe Montana is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks in ever. He was surrounded by incredible talent.
Right.
The experts go back and forth with this, and it drives me nuts.
I think, yeah. So I would have, because I thought that you might be going this way, and not the exact take. I would definitely have Jalen Hurts actually at number 5, if not higher, because like Super Bowls do matter. But I can see as the executive saying, well, Joe Burrow is technically a better quarterback. Would the Eagles win a Super Bowl with Allen? Probably. You're right. But you know, if he's healthy, I think Allen would lead them to Super Bowl. I think Mahomes would lead them to the Super Bowl. But I would definitely Jalen Hurts. It is disrespectful. I think he is the reverse Lamar Jackson. Sometimes he has a so-so regular season, sometimes game manager-esque, especially this last year with Saquon. Then when it matters, and what they get paid to do and why you want your quarterback, he's clutch. He had 2 massive Super Bowls. 2. And they could have easily won both. Obviously easily won this one against Kansas City, but he outplayed. Mahomes had a good Super Bowl 3 years ago. But with that being said, totally outplayed him. He huge numbers. So why do you want a quarterback to win championships? And it's not the best comparison, but I do think he's reverse Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's great in the regular season, not so great in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts 2 years ago, 3 years ago, really good in the regular season, but his postseason play is excellent, and that's what you want. He's huge. He made every right play. They just stormed through the playoffs, except against the Rams. They could have lost that because of the snow. But the other games, they destroyed a good Commanders team. They destroyed an excellent Chiefs team. It wasn't even close.
That's so funny you're saying that. They're like revert. You're absolutely right. And let's see if you can tell me why. Why is that? Why is Jalen a better clutch and big time game player and Lamar isn't? It's one word for a quarterback.
Leadership.
What'd you just say? Leadership. You are a smart man.
Yeah. He's a leader. He doesn't get high or low. He doesn't have, and I think he is true to who he does whatever it takes to win. If he needs to throw the ball 30 times, that's what executives are looking at. Like his usage rate is lower and has been, but they didn't have Saquon Barkley a few years ago when they almost beat the Chiefs this high-scoring game. I don't remember who the running back was. You would know, but it wasn't Saquon. And they relied on him, and he can carry them. I think he can do whatever it takes. I think Lamar, the leadership, it's hard to know, but it's like you just go into the playoffs knowing that he's going to choke, and then the players are kind of looking at him sideways when it's playoff time. Like, is he going to revert back to? He's going to be the regular season guy, and he had a better postseason this run, but still, he doesn't. It seems like he gets to the postseason and he's more conservative. I think against Kansas City, why is he not running the ball? Why is he not taking off running? In the playoffs, you do what Mahomes does that. Mahomes is pocket passer first, but you've said every time he breaks off a 20, 30, 40-yard run if he needs it. Yep. And then it seems like he's more conservative in the playoffs when you can't be.
You do whatever, especially in the playoffs. Definitely in the playoffs. You do whatever you have to do to get the extra yard or that extra 25 yards. And that brings me back every time when we talk about something like that is when John Elway did that run years and years ago. And he wasn't even really a running quarterback. And he dove and he gave up his body because it was the playoffs, the Super Bowl. You do whatever it takes to win. And I'm not sure if Lamar hasn't done that yet. Period. So let's see if he does it.
Yeah, he's definitely that shiny object during the regular season with all the MVPs, and he's such a weapon. And I don't know if it's the coaching that's mismanaging him in the playoffs, but he puts so much pressure on defenses until the playoffs, and then I don't know if he wants to be a pocket quarterback. Who cares? You throw for 0 yards and you rush for 150 and you win the Super Bowl. Guess what? You're a Super Bowl champion.
That's right.
And, so we'll see. Be interesting season to see what unfolds. And there's going to maybe be a surprise quarterback that has a big year, or maybe a quarterback that was shipped off or forgotten about, like Sam Darnold. Like this past season, we had a huge year with Minnesota. I think there'll be some quarterbacks. There's always a team or quarterbacks that regress, no matter what age they are, because they lose their OC or they get hurt or whatever. That's why the NFL is king. Every team feels like they have a chance going in.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, man. Well, happy 50th, man. I love it. This has been a great ride, and let's keep running it, man.
Awesome.
Great show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're not talking overtime pay. We're talking the overtime play. The big stories, the big plays, the big drama. We got Jared B and Johnny